The one great thing about this hobby is it's constantly testing you to learn new skills. And we're going to learn to make balustrades for the pin rail. And the first thing I did was to go on YouTube and see how you make full-size balustrades, and it was quite instructive. So I'm going to use that as a guide.
This is a video about wood turning, and in a few short minutes I'm going to teach you everything that I know about wood turning.
The video is thisiscarpentry.com by a fantastic fellow called Jed Dixon. Highly recommended. So I'm going to use that as a guide, and we'll see where it goes from here. The problem we have following Ted Dixon's advice is none of the second supports of the piece will work. There's simply not enough space, and we can't get a steady support in the middle because the pieces we're working on are simply too small. When I first tried to make them on the lathe, I used these skewers. I'm not sure where I got them from. They're clearly not a hardwood, and it quickly started breaking on me, so that wasn't really going to work out. So I've cut some juniper blanks, and I found a nice piece of wamara I had, which is the hardest wood that's available. This is my guide, and these are fairly accurate measurements. The key being that from the top to the bottom of the balustrade is 1 centimeter. Now we're adding these 6 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And we're going to establish those lines on the blank, which will act as a guide, because those are the critical surfaces that will help us make this piece. Following on from the advice that we got on YouTube, we put this little template here on the guide for the cutting tools, and we are able to establish this cut here, this cut here, the center of this, the deepest part, and these 2 dimensions are actually exactly the same. The tools that we're using, these are some hand gouges that or chisels that I've acquired. They're the smallest pieces that I have, and of course the vernier caliper, which is the only instrument that will get down inside these very tight measurement spaces. Of course, having the nicest chisel in the world that's dull makes no sense. So we have these various stones. Those 2 plates, one is a 4000 and the other one is a 8000. And it's absolutely essential that all your tools be as sharp as possible, because it's just a waste of time otherwise. This job is to roughly take the piece down to just above the maximum width of the piece that we want to end up with, and then we use one of these finest gouges to mark the key spots. We're doing the end to the final dimension, because as you start to cut the balustrade and these parts get weakened, it gets very much harder to do these fine pieces so far out. So again, we're working from this side coming in, simply because the strength of the piece is closer to the head of the lathe. Of course, the golden rule is less that's more. There's no rush to do this. So it's a very, very delicate touch, and hopefully my touch will get better as I go along, because I did break 3 of these prior to this one. So again, I just stress a delicate touch. This is try number 4, and it's been a learning process, and I have to say it's certainly getting there. We're going to put some sandpaper and clean it up a little bit. The bulge is a little big than this one, but all in all, I am not unhappy with how it's come out. I've had so much fun doing these 6 units, I've decided I'm going to do probably up to 20 and then pick the best 6. And all I can say is I keep surprising myself. Having spent most of last night learning how to do these balusters, and done 6 very nice ones, we're going to time ourselves just to give you an indication of how long it takes to do one of these. So let's get started. That's 7 minutes, 18 seconds to do one. Maybe I get it down to about 5 minutes for one, but all in all, that's not too bad. And once you learn the technique, it keeps getting easier and easier. So don't be afraid like I was, or intimidated by the job. Dive in, and wonderful new experience you're going to have. Now that we're on a roll, we're going to try and make the belaying pins. And we've done the same, followed the same format that we have written it out, done all the measurements, and now just using the vernier caliper, we're going to make our first belaying pin. The one on the left is the one I made, the one on the right is the kit supplied one. I think mine is actually better than the one supplied by the shop. So all in all, very, very satisfied. There's really nothing that I can't make now using the lathe. The key to the whole thing is really just having a very dense, tightly grained wood, the hardest wood that you can get, to make these fine parts. And again, to start on the outside and work onto the inside. So I hope you've enjoyed this little video as much as I have, and I'll see you in the next one.